Hello, everybody. It's me. And I'm actually doing this from my in-laws' house. And even though I kind of knew when I was coming here that I was going to plan to do a live training, I failed to pack some of my tools to make that a little easier. So I have a makeshift setup here on the bed by the window for some natural light. I'm just gonna do what I can. That's how we have to roll sometimes, right? And I am going to I might use my iPad here to be able to show you a few things. And yeah, I want to make sure the live video is coming through. And I am going to dive right in just because I know this group is still at a small level. I hope some of you are able to jump on live and definitely say hey if you do, so I know who's listening. But I would love also for you to hashtag replay if you do watch the replay later. So and give me your feedback of what was helpful about this, what was not so helpful, what you wish there would have been more of. I'll go ahead and tell you this is not going to be a stories tutorial on what to do. If you need that and want that, I am more than willing to help you with it, but that's not what I'm going to spend the time doing today. Today, I just want to open your mind to utilizing this feature, because as we know, social media, it's always changing. Facebook alone is always adding new things, and then we're hearing about other platforms to use, and that can be overwhelming. I get it. But also in where we are, and probably for you, whether you're passionate about a cause, you're part of a church group, or you have a business, you know that social media, Facebook in particular, can be a great tool and source for building your brand and your reach and your voice. But how and when to use it can be overwhelming. And honestly, if you try to do it all, you can spread yourself too thin. So you don't want to do that. But I do want to encourage maybe playing around with your stories, because I have found it to be one thing I've learned, and maybe you've been taught this and what you do as well, is being authentic on social media is the key to everything. Not just on social media, but in real life as well. But especially on social media, being authentic, that's what people are drawn to. That's what people are attracted to. They want to see real life. And yet, as much as we know that, it's still very hard sometimes to be real on social media. We also know, and this is for anyone with a business, people invest in people. They invest in you. And I have found that the stories feature really allows people, if you use it properly, it can allow people to feel connected to you and the real you, because you have a limited reach in your feed, and Facebook algorithms do all sorts of crazy things. Some people see it, some people don't. But if you post your stories and people watch those stories, I'm going to show you on here. You can see, across the top of my Facebook, these are the stories, right? These things here. And Instagram's the same way, which I actually record my stories from Instagram. They're all up here at the top. And your stories are a way for you to be at the top of somebody's news feed frequently. And when you are somebody that a person watches regularly, you will always show up in those top spots. It's a hit and miss game in the content you put out there, whether Facebook or Instagram is going to put you at the top of somebody's news feed when they log in. But with stories, if they know you watch somebody's stories basically daily or every other day, they're going to make sure that they show up at the top of your stories feed, at the top of your Instagram or Facebook. So I didn't fully understand stories at first, but what I quickly learned was that it kind of stole a page out of the Snapchat box or whatever, book. That was the one I was going for, in the sense that it is time sensitive. And there are two reasons why this is very appealing. One, anytime you can create a sense of urgency, it's going to help you. Okay, people know that those stories, when you put them up, they only last 24 hours. Poof, they're gone forever. So if they don't take time to watch your stories, in that 24-hour window, they'll miss something. So if you're creating, things that they enjoy listening to or watching, they're going to make sure they take time to watch it before poof, they're gone. They're going to want to tune into your stories every day. Whereas, with what you post on your main page, they can go look at that whenever if they really want to. It's not going anywhere unless, you could delete it. But for you, the benefit that will take some of the intimidation out of stories is it doesn't last forever. It's gone after 24 hours, right? And that's, again, where I feel like the authenticity can really be played up in your stories. You don't have to fear that what you put out there is going to be out there forever. And it is kind of like somebody's tapping into your little world when they open up your stories. And I like to compare it to modern day reality TV. Stories can be like reality TV. I first found myself really watching particular people's stories that I didn't even know that well. Back when I was first a mom of 2 under 2 and alone a lot, and there were these other moms that would come on and share things that were going on in their daily life, and they would, have the crazy hair when they just woke up, and they'd be like under their blankets, and come on just to say, it's 6 a.m. and my kids are already asking for second breakfast, and I don't feel well today, and I really just want to stay in bed. And I'd be like, I feel you, sister. So, I was able to connect to these people, and they didn't get on and try to do their makeup before they were on, or fix their hair, or get in the right clothes. Sometimes you do that, but it was very real life, and in 24 hours, those things were gone. It was just a glimpse into their life. So, when you utilize the stories just to share bits of your life in the real capacity, people are going to start feeling more connected to the real you. And again, when they feel connected to the real you, they feel they can trust you. And if you have a business, if you have a group, a platform that you are trying to grow, they're going to listen to you more because they feel like they know who you really are beyond just your product or your brand. So, let me check my notes here. So yes, time sensitivity drives people to watch it if they know you're putting out content they enjoy. They're going to keep listening, and then Facebook or Instagram is going to put you at the top. And you should feel like it's easier and less intimidating because it is going to disappear, so you don't have to be picture perfect. So first, I want to talk about some do nots on your stories. So if you're just using your stories to repost other memes you find, quotes, people's posts, some of your pictures, that is a good one to use. But if you're just posting things that other people have created, you're kind of missing the boat, because people could find that in their newsfeed. Honestly, it is not unique to you. So they're not always going to click into your stories just to see a meme that they probably will see anyway. People click in the stories because it's unique. They want to see what's going on with you. So it's not to say never to share those things in your stories, but what I found is I'm picky and choosy about when I share something that's not originally created by me. But I also will add in some of my own commentary, so to speak. So if I'm sharing somebody's post, like my business is in wellness and nutrition. So if I read a really good post about gut health and I want to share it so other people will go read it, I'll share it, but then I'll type some text on there as well about, that tries to kind of entice some curiosity and interest so somebody else will click into it. So then it is uniquely me, like, there's some of my voice in that post that I've shared, not just somebody else completely. The second thing that I recommend not doing is if you're putting up pictures or videos, don't 100% rely on filtering. The reason I love stories, again, is the authenticity and the realness. And yeah, I use filters some too. Sometimes I do it because they're funny. And sometimes I do it just because I do want to feel a little like, if it's me in my messy house and I'm trying to just say something, I might use the black and white filter because it drowns out all the madness behind me a little bit or something like that. It's not to say filters are all bad, but if you are 100% relying on a filter that makes, now I have a glow right now, it's not because I have a filter, you guys, it's because I'm sitting by the window. But if I 100% only use filters that made me look like I had makeup on, people are not going to connect to that. We all wake up every day and look in the mirror and see what we really look like. And right now more than ever, we are isolated and dependent on technology to be face to face with people, and creating this stigma that there's this perfect look we're supposed to have. It's mentally toxic to so many people, because then suddenly they feel like they're not good enough in their real skin when they go out in public. So the more you can be real and let people see the bags under your eyes, your wrinkles, your freckles, whatever. I've got a zit right now, you can't see it because of the crazy glow. Like, those things happen, and like, yes, we don't like to see it on ourselves, but honestly, it makes other people realize you're real too, and their flaws, you can relate to them, okay? The things, those imperfections are relatable. So don't use filters so much that if somebody saw you in real life, they kind of scratch their head, or so much that you feel like you can't go out in real life because people are going to see what you really look like. So don't always use filters. Don't only post about your business, your product, your cause, your mission, whatever. If you have a product or business page, sure, do that. People follow that page for that reason, but they're following you, your personal account, for you. And you are so much more than your product or your business, right? You might be like me. You might be a mom. You might be an animal person. You might, maybe you have a second business you also do. Whatever it is, like, that's why they're following you. It's for all of you. It's not to say don't share your business. I definitely do that. But it's sprinkled in there. I don't only put up stuff about my business, and I'll touch on that a little more in a minute. Also, don't feel like you've got to use all the fancy features. When you open up an Instagram, you know, you get, sorry, you can see the reflection from the window. I don't know if you can see very well. You've got all these buttons and all these filters, and it can feel overwhelming, right? I'm telling you, this is a less is more opportunity, because, again, it takes some of the realness factor out of you when you're adding all these GIFs and fancy music and stuff. Plus, it's honestly just more of a time suck for you. The real you is just throwing it up there. I will tell you in a minute some of the things that, as you want to get, you know, add a little bit to it, you utilize some of the stickers, as they call them, which ones I would recommend. But less is more. Don't feel like because you don't understand what all those features are, you shouldn't use the stories. Honestly, if you can record a video like this and talk, then you're doing good stuff with your stories. Last, don't feel like if you start using the stories and you feel like you're getting people watching them, that you have to post all the time to keep them interested in you, because otherwise you end up posting things that aren't that interesting, that make people fall off from that 24-hour urgency. They're like, if I miss it, it's not that big of a deal. Now, if you are an influencer and you heavily rely on your stories as part of the way you're building your brand, that is a little different. And in that case, yes, by all means, take a break from it sometimes, but it can be a good courtesy to come on and say, hey, I have family coming in this weekend. I'm going to be off the radar with my social media. This is why, and I look forward to touching base with you guys on Monday. Then people know. But don't just do it just to do it, because you feel like otherwise you're going to just wash out your content and people aren't going to be interested. Okay, so now for 7 tips I do recommend when using the stories feature. Make sure you use your face and your voice. That is the thing that is most uniquely you, and you might be uncomfortable with it at first, but I'll tell you, it is way easier than doing live videos that, that stay out there, that once they're going, people are watching. Like, just talk to the camera. I enjoyed when someone would be in the car pickup line and pop on and tell me a funny thing their kid did that day, or why they, just some funny commentary about being in the drop-off line or whatever. Or I've shared some of the ridiculous awful situations I've been in with my kids that I know another mom's going to be like, yep, I can see my kids doing that. Like the time I went to wake up George from his nap and he'd stuffed all of his toys and slept with them inside his underpants. What the heck? Like, those are the things that make you real. But me telling that rather than just posting a picture of it, I mean, that's funny too. But when people hear you talking, it's like they get a chance to sit and be with you. And that's how I felt connected to these other moms I've never met in person. And I would respond to them and they would reply back. And I was building relationships with people that I had never met in person. And to this day, there are people I have met through social media that I feel connected to, and they feel connected to me simply because they keep up with my stories, and that's a glimpse into my everyday real life. So show your face, talk to the camera. People will enjoy seeing you. So that's number one. Number two, this goes back to what we already talked about in limiting your filter use. Like when you do the talking to the camera, it's okay. Yeah, sometimes you want to look nice. You want people to know you know how to look put together. But let them see you first thing in the morning without your makeup on too. Like if you have something to share in the morning, don't feel like you shouldn't do it until you're all put together and ready. Again, reserve that for your live videos if you want. But the whole point of stories is to keep it simple, keep it real. And they're gone in 24 hours, so. Number three, limit your use of commercial content. I know my company does a fantastic job putting out images and graphics we can use, and we have a wonderful community where other people are really good with apps and create awesome graphics. I love to use those, but honestly I limit it. I want those things that I put up that have to do with my business. I limit it to doing many bits of education. I might include how I'm using my products, but again, that's usually me talking to the camera or showing pictures of what my family's doing that day. Or I use it for event promotion, programs or events I have going on. And I do use the pretty graphics that other people create, but I kind of see them as more like hit and miss, like PSAs that I throw in there every once in a while. Like I don't post every day about my business and product. I can't even say I post every other day about it. Sometimes I'll kind of go a stretch without it. Because again, I want people to come back to my stories frequently, and I want them, when I do post about my product and my business, like I want them to know that I'm doing it because I genuinely want to share that particular bit of information. Number three, that was number three. This is number four. Number four, leave your bloopers. So when you record something, it doesn't automatically post to your stories. You then get the chance to delete it, to add some text on it, to add a filter to it, all that fun stuff. A lot of times it's very tempting to look at what you said and be like, ooh, I don't like the way I looked, or ooh, I stumbled over that word, or oh gosh, my dog started barking. And sorry, I'm getting a message. I'll get back to you in a minute, Teresa. But you think, oh, that was weird, or my kid rushed in and yelled something, so you delete it and you want to try to get it perfect. Leave the bloopers. I've been doing something and talking to my phone while walking and tripped. Again, real life, people can see those bloopers. They laugh along with you. It's so much better to have some of that stuff in there so they know that you're really just posting this as you do life. You're not trying to create perfect content for them in your stories. All right, number five, you don't have to do this all the time, but adding some typed verbiage to some of your video posts is worth it, especially if you're, telling a story you really want to share, or you are talking about your business or product or your platform or your message that you really want. A lot of times I'll get on and share things that have to do with my faith or hard things I'm going through and how I'm working through it. The reason I say it's good to put some typed verbiage in there is because I think the statistic is 80 or 85% of people watch videos on their phone with it muted. So if you just are always talking and you never have anything in there to convey your message in typed format, but again, still seeing your face, there's an appeal to that. But that's why you see more and more of these videos that have closed captioning And there's even services that'll do that for you, because that statistic is so high that people, I mean, think about it. You're at work, you don't want to turn the volume up and let everyone know you're watching videos. So you end up skipping videos that you can't understand because there's no closed captioning. So to type a little on top of your videos where you're talking like this can be helpful. And it's a very simple feature to use, is the typing text one. Okay, I think I'm on number 6. If you are going to start experimenting with some of the features that you can use on your stories, the simplest, best ones that I would say to use, again, typing some text. That's a great place to start to help people watch your videos and get something out of them, even if they're listening to them on mute. But also there's a poll feature, and I love that one because it gives people easy way to engage with what you're doing. And it doesn't have to be a positive, negative options on your poll. They can be 2 silly answers. They can be, 2 kind of similar answers with different responses, but what's nice is, on Facebook stories, people can push that heart or that like or that ha-ha emoji and just engage very simply. Well, this gives people a way to engage very simply without just saying like, hey, if you want to know more about this, send me a message. Like, you put the poll in there, all they have to do is tap. So I would definitely recommend the poll feature, or there's also a slider with like a happy face that just gives people an easy way to engage, and then who's listening, who's watching, who's really wanting to engage with you, and then you can take that relationship into a one-on-one and conversation, which is great. All right, and number 7, a tip. Nobody wants to like be on their phone all the time, especially when you're out and about with other people, out with your kids. You don't want your kids seeing you constantly glued to your phone, right? Now, I do it to take lots of pictures when I'm out and about, but I also like to, sometimes share some of the social fun things I'm doing in my stories. So often what I do is I grab little videos, I take little pictures here and there when we're out. Like last night, I went out to dinner with my husband and some work colleagues of his. I took a few pictures while we were out. I waited till I was home and going to bed, and I posted all of them. I didn't try to post it while I was out with him and with other people. I didn't want to be doing that. I didn't want to be on my phone with them. So while you do want to keep it real and in real time, what's the difference in a few hours? So definitely don't let stories take over your life so much that it keeps you from engaging in the people actually around you as you do life. So those are my best tips to getting started and start. Again, when you're doing this is your own little reality TV. So why did reality TV take off? Because you felt like you were seeing the behind the scenes of people in real life, their gritty flaws, when they'd fight, when they'd be down, what they really thought about things. And that's kind of what your stories are, at least the opportunity for, that people can see you in your everyday real life. Sometimes it's fancy and nice, but they can see the real you too. And they realize, like, even if they're not ready yet to put the real them out there in social media, they can see that, like, oh, not everybody is perfect on social media. This person that I love what she posts about and what she does with her business, oh, she's actually more like me than I thought. And maybe initially some of those people still don't connect with you on a level of whatever you're branded with, whatever company you're with, whatever movement you're a part of. But as you really become passionate and want to share a message regarding that, they're going to be open to listening to you because they feel like they know you and they can trust you. And whether they agree with you or want to buy your product or not, they'll at least respect what you have to say because you're a real person to them and not just somebody that they scroll past on their newsfeed that posts about something they're not interested in. So I hope this was helpful, and let me know what was or wasn't helpful about it. And I look forward to doing some more of these. There's so much I want to share. Also about, again, my background is in marketing. I've worked in it for 12 years. For 5 years I worked, well, actually more like 15 years as far as PR, journalism, marketing, advertising, graphics, all those things. And I still thoroughly enjoy learning how these things are constantly changing with social media. They all have their perks. We don't have to use them all. But the biggest thing, especially with the illuminated life, that I really want to push and help people do is use social media more authentically, because especially as we sit at home, the easier and easier it is to get used to hiding behind a screen and filters and only picking and choosing what we share about ourselves. And the more we can share real stuff with people, we're going to bring hope to people, we're going to bring connection to people, you're going to give people permission to be themselves, essentially. So be proud of who you are, share that, share the real nitty gritty, and in turn you're giving permission to people to be themselves and be themselves around you. And you'll be surprised how some of your connections and relationships might change and build just through being real through your stories. So, all right, you guys have a great, happy Halloween.